Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Benzel, and welcome to another Pokemon XY anime discussion. Earlier this morning, apparently there were some new summaries and titles revealed of a few of the episodes coming up. We have a summary for the Scary House, and we also have a summary for the Bagon episode and the Spritzy episode, and there's some surprising things going on. But before we get in depth into these episodes, let me discuss what exactly is going on with those episodes. Then we'll discuss them in depth. I don't think this video is going to be too long, so hopefully we can just get this taken care of, basically. So, let's see. For the Scary House episode, which I believe is episode 72, oh no, hold on. Ash and his friends have gotten lost. They get relieved when they find a house, or they would have been, but this turns out to be the Scary House, said to be found in this area. And there is a picture, well, it's more of a scan, but you'll see it anyway, of Clement with some sort of device, and Serena, Bonnie, and Ash are in that picture as well. There was another image. I guess I could put it up if if I want to. I'll put it up for you of Serena being shocked and surprised. I don't know if I already had that image up or whatever, but there is an image of Serena being shocked. There was no new summary for the Bonnie and Meowth episode, the episode 71. So there's that. So then we move on to the Bagon episode, and you will see an image of a certain character that is actually surprisingly going to show up earlier than we thought. And yes, of course, that is the Trico trainer, Shota. Although we have no idea what his role within the Bagon episode is, but we do have a summary for the Bagon episode. Oh, but but before that, let me tell you what the Bagon title is first. There we go. Forgot about the titles. Forgot that these had titles. For a moment. Let's see. Okay, Battle at the Fashion Show. Bagon versus Spritzy. Woo! Which kind of goes along with what I was thinking earlier in one of my earlier videos, where I said that Bagon could have been the introduction to Valerie, which it actually is, based on this summary. The group has arrived in Laver City. However, the gym leader of the Laver gym, Valerie, is going to participate in a fashion show and won't be able to battle Ash. Which means that that is, in fact, the introduction to Valerie. And as I thought, Bagon was going to battle Spritzy in some fashion or another. I don't know if a fashion show, I don't know if that's unrelated to Pokemon showcases or Pokemon contests, and whether or not they're actually going to be an actual battle, but it'll be interesting to see Bagon versus Spritzy, as I speculated earlier that it could be Valerie's introduction if Spritzy was the gym battle. And surprise, actually, well, not really a surprise since I've speculated it, but episode 74 is, the title is Laver Gym Battle, The Beautiful Fairy Trap. And this one actually has a nice image, which you'll see. I think it'll be shrunk down, but you'll see that it has a lot of content in it and stuff. So the blurbs on that Pokemon fan magazine page, I believe is where it's come from, is Challenge the Laver Gym. Ash challenges Valerie after her fashion show. How will this battle go? A battle against two fairy types. Valerie's Pokemon are fairy types. They may look cute at first glance, but don't let your guard down around them. Sylveon uses Disarming Voice. Fletchinder is in trouble after a trick room. Fletchinder gets locked up in Spritzy's move Trick Room, which prevents it from utilizing the speed it specializes in. Valerie, a gym leader who loves fairy-type Pokemon and is said to understand their language. Okay, so that's basically the titles and summary, so let's go into the episodes themselves. There's really nothing to talk about the Scary House episode, outside that Gengar is supposed to be in there. I guess I could speculate on that device that you'll see, with Clement, that shows Clement with some sort of contraption. See, and it looks like, some sort of, well, antennae of some sort. Well, maybe, yeah. So I'm assuming maybe that device tracks ghost Pokemon or disturbances, paranormal disturbances, or whatever. Chespin is in the episode, though. That's kind of nice. Outside of that, I don't really think there's much to be said outside of Gengar, and wonder what Gengar's role is going to be within this episode. So, well, that covers that one. So let's go into the Bagon versus Spritzy episode. Now, considering that Shota is actually going to be in that episode, as you'll see an image of Shota, the thing that came with this particular summary, with the fashion show and Valerie not being able to battle Ash, there is possibly some speculation that Shota might actually have a Bagon. And that would probably make a lot of sense, because it would be weird to have a random fashion battle with Bagon versus Spritzy, Shota actually doing gyms, for example, and then having some random Bagon that actually doesn't mean anything. Because it just seems odd, you know. It seems odd that they would create an episode where Valor would be introduced, but it was just like some sort of beauty pageant type episode, which had no relevance whatsoever than just to show off Valerie for the entire 22-minute episode or 20-minute episode, or however long Pokemon episodes actually are in terms of content. Not their full running time with commercials and introductions and openings, but just the full running content. So I expect Shota to be the one with Bagon, so that Shota's appearance will seem like some weird whatever, some weird thing or whatever. So some weird thing. Sorry, some weird inclusion into the episode. There we go. But you know, I think most of what this episode is going to be about the Bagon versus Spritzy. I think what it's going to do is, because I don't think Ash is going to have any dragon Pokemon at this point, I think what it's going to do is illustrate the contrasting types with Bagon and Spritzy. Spritzy being immune and super effective against Bagon, and who knows, maybe Bagon will win. Who knows? I don't see it as winning because it is Valerie the gym leader, so it makes sense for Valerie to win. But this weird fashion show battle is kind of confusing, so maybe she does lose in some fashion. Maybe she actually beats the battle but loses in some other fashion. But I think that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else I can draw from that particular conclusion. The only thing we can do now is just talk about the gym battle in more depth that's going to happen. So, in the image that you will see, well, it might be hard to see everything because it's going to be shrinked down so it can be small, but let's see, hold on, I saved it. Okay, so in the Valerie image, there's one thing that I want to say is that Valerie is really nice in her anime appearance. She looks a lot nicer than in her XY versions, you know, her game counterparts, or even her Sugimori art, because Valerie, in the images that we see, she actually looks normal. She doesn't look as Pokemon-like as she does in the games. There's not really a lot here to suggest in terms of the images. We see Ash with his fist. He's pumped up, ready to battle. Valerie looks really like a nice person. She looks like she has a pleasant attitude. It's like she's calm and collected. That's what it looks like. kind of like, Spritzy, use Fairy Wind or something throughout the whole battle. She doesn't look like she gets angry or whatever, like some gym leaders have. Very nice that we actually get to see Sylveon. I'm actually happy that Sylveon is actually in Valerie's team, because if it was just Spritzy out and Mawile or Mr. Mime, that would have been disappointing. So we see Sylveon using Disarming Voice, which is in the shape of hearts for some odd reason. I don't know what it looked. Well, maybe there were hearts in the game animation. It's hard to remember. I haven't played X and Y for a while, so so then we just get a nice shot of Spritzy next to Valerie. Then we have Sylveon next to Spritzy. Then we have a shot that's kind of amazing, and we got Spritzy as well as Fletchinder battling each other, and they're in Trick Room. So that covers the image, but let's go in depth into the battle and suggest what's going to happen. As I speculated, due to Spritzy being the broadcast data Pokemon or whatever, data broadcast Pokemon, it was pretty much a guarantee that this was going to be the gym battle. I mean, I don't like it. I really don't. I mean, you would have thought that this would have happened after the movie, but I don't know if they're like rushing gyms or whatever. I don't know how much longer after this we're going to run into Meowstic, but we are. I feel like this pacing that's occurring is detrimental to the XY series, because that likely means that development for the Pokemon are possibly going to be screwed over, and at that particular point, I don't think there would be any reason to have created a Pokemon like Goodra just to have released it, if all of a sudden by the end of this year we're just going to go into the Pokemon League. It just seems kind of pointless at this time. You know, it would have made more sense if the series was drawn out a little bit more, so that Ash could catch two more Pokemon and develop and have these gym battles. But there is one possibility. Even though we don't see any data broadcast Pokemon that actually suggests this could happen, and based on the opening, I believe, it seems that it would be nice, but unlikely that Ash will lose this gym battle. There are some reasons for why he might lose this battle. For one thing, this is a 2 versus 2 battle for some odd reason. I am not understanding this at all. I have no idea why the anime writers decided to go completely against the games on this, because if you remember, Valerie did not have Spritzy or Swirlix in her game. All she had was Sylveon, Mawile, and Mr. Mime. Now, I can understand maybe Mr. Mime isn't going to be a Pokemon to be used in battle, but Mawile? That would have been the perfect Pokemon for Fletchinder to go against, seeing as how it's actually weak against Fletchinder's Flame Charge. So I don't understand why it's a 2-on-2, and I don't know why they decided to give Valerie a Spritzy, because the thing that annoys me about this is that they could have done the same for Corinna. They could have at least given her a Pangoro, and seeing Hawlucha beating a Pangoro would have been a little bit more interesting to see than, say, a Meanfu. So that is a little disappointed that they didn't bother changing Corinna's team, because they kind of messed up on that one, because even though there weren't that many fighting types, you know, she still could have had Pangoro if she was going to have another Hawlucha. But that's just that particular instance. But in this one, I don't know why she has a 2-on-2. Considering that based on the opening, Olympia seems to be a double battle, I'm not exactly looking forward to this particular 2 versus 2. You know, I think I've said this in one of my very early Pokemon anime videos, but full battles and longer length battles are always preferred. I don't like these 1-on-1, 2 versus 2 double battles when it's just 2 Pokemon versus 2 Pokemon at once. You know, I just don't like them. 3 versus 3. I mean, it's clear why they're. It's actually, now that I think about it, I think I know why they're doing this, and it's because they screwed Ash's team over. They said, well, we're just gonna get rid of Goodra, and Ash is gonna have 14, but it's gonna be the same 4 Pokemon that we've had since Froakie evolved on Frogadier, and even if you overlook that, it's the same team that he has had since his capture of Halucha. So, in order to spice things up, what they were planning to do is, since they were releasing Goodra, is just to make Valerie's gym battle not as good, basically, because then it would only be a 2-on-2. I mean, look at... Viola was a 2-on-2. Grant, Corinna, Ramos, and Clement have all been 3-on-3. Going back down to a 2 versus 2 only makes sense because they know they screwed up. They know at the moment that they wrote the episode and it became finalized and proved, and they had no choice but to go with it, that they screwed up releasing Goodra, because then they realized, oh, Ash didn't have another Pokemon by then. So that's the only reason why I can think of that it's a 2 versus 2, is because of the imbalance that is created when Goodra is going to be released on Ash's team. Let's see. But further, let's see. With Fletchender confirmed, I'm not sure what Ash's next other Pokemon is going to be. I don't know when Olympia is going to happen. I don't know if there's going to be any evolutions by Olympia, so I don't really, at this point, due to the pacing of the gyms, I honestly can't expect Greninja for Olympia, so this would probably be a very nice gym for Frogadier to be in, possibly. Especially since it's Sylveon, and Frogadier could easily beat Sylveon, but Fletchender versus Spritzy being the final battle, and Valerie's Spritzy being her ace, is one of the reasons why I think this is probably going to be one of the worst gyms, simply due to the pacing, or the placing of the gym battle. If this had been the first gym battle, or the second gym battle, I think this could have been a great pass, but this is definitely... I honestly can't imagine what they could possibly do to enhance this particular episode, unless Fletchender takes out Sylveon and Spritzy, if Ash does beat Valerie. If Ash does lose and there is a rematch later on, then I will accept the possibility that maybe in the rematch, Valerie will have Aromatisse, Sylveon, and maybe a third Pokemon, and it'll be an actual 3 versus 3, and they just wanted to show off this particular moment right now, just to introduce Valerie and give Valerie a few more episodes. And this was the only way that they planned on doing this. But if Ash does get his badge because of the suggestion that Shota may watch this gym battle, and as a result of this, it seems likely that Ash is going to win, because Shota is following Ash in his footsteps or whatever, following after Ash as if he admires Ash in some fashion. So having Shota watch this battle and Ash losing only to do a rematch doesn't really make much sense to me, but that's only if Shota watches. If Shota does not watch, and the Trico episode does not involve Shota at all, and there's no mention of whether or not Ash got his badge or not, I think we could be fine with the rematch, but it doesn't seem likely that we're going to get a rematch of any kind. So, Fletchender is confirmed for the gym battle. As for Ash's second Pokemon that he might use during this gym battle, I don't know. There's 3 Pokemon. Hawlucha doesn't seem likely at all. I can't imagine why Ash would use Hawlucha against a fairy type outright, because Hawlucha is definitely at a disadvantage against Valerie, and it would serve no purpose to have a pure fighting type here based on moves, ignoring Flying Press's secondary effect, which really wouldn't matter anyway because it would still resist it. Hawlucha is just going to be straight out horrible disadvantage here, and unlike, say, Goodra or even Noibat, if it were to have been caught before this and was caught by Ash to be used in this gym battle, there would be no reason to illustrate Hawlucha being weak against fairy types. So that leaves Frogadier or Pikachu for this particular episode timeline. Pikachu, I honestly would prefer Frogadier. But, you know, it just depends on what's going to be used against Olympia and Wolfric. If Pikachu is going to be used in those battles, then no way do I want Pikachu to be used here. If Pikachu has a chance of not being used against Olympia as well as Wolfric, then I guess its final gym could be here, but I honestly don't expect Pikachu to not be used against Wolfric. I know it wasn't used against, what was it? Okay, no. Yeah, okay, it was used there. It's used against 1. Used against Luxray. Yeah, nope. I can't imagine of any instance where Pikachu has not been used for the final gym, so it seems likely that it's going to be used against Wolfric, so even though it has Iron Tail, I really don't want to see Pikachu here. Really do not want to see Pikachu here. So I'm hoping for Frogadier and Fletchinder. You know, I'll even accept Hawlucha even though it's going to be at a severe disadvantage, but like I said, I don't think this gym battle is going to be that good or decent, because not only is it 2-on-2, one of Valerie's Pokemon is lackluster. I mean, it's tinier than Fletchinder, for crying out loud, for the most. I mean, its body I think might be bigger than Fletchinder, but Fletchinder has a bigger wingspan and I think a longer body with its tail, so it's roughly around the same size. We'll just say it's roughly around the same size. So it's, I like to see these not so big Pokemon taking out other bigger Pokemon. It's kind of lackluster to see Hawlucha taking out a Mienfoo when it's roughly the same size, when Pangoro is probably around 1.5 times bigger than Hawlucha, so it'd be more impressive. But this battle might surprise me, but considering it's 2 versus 2, I'm not really sure there's anything that I could like about this episode, except maybe Pikachu does get used, but it loses without a win, and Fletchinder takes out both Sylveon and Spritzy. That would possibly be the only positive aspect about this episode that I could ever imagine for a 2 versus 2 gym battle this particular late in the series, which seems to be which seems to indicate a very rushed pacing for no particular reason. Because as far as we know, we don't have any other next-gen games revealed so far. Pokemon Z or XY2 doesn't seem like it's going to come out anytime soon. So the incredible rushing of the gym battle quest doesn't really make any sense, because at this point I can't imagine why anything after the league is going to actually matter, unless it's going to be a new generation. I mean, if it's going to be something like the Battle Frontier, that's fine, but if we go by what the Battle Frontier showed, Ash is just going to recall his previous gen Pokemon, and we're not going to get any new captures. So that pretty much covers all that I can think of the gym. If we get a summary or get a preview, maybe I'll do some more discussion on that. But like I said, it's not looking like it's going to be an exciting episode to watch. And personally, I mean, you might be fine with the 2 versus 2 with Fletchinder and some other random Pokemon of Ash's, but oh well. So this covers this particular episode. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.